Thank you for taking your time to listen to this intelligent education series. This is from Valdemar's Intelligence LLC in Grand Prairie, Texas. I want to welcome you to our executive and professional development course. This is done by internationally trained professionals. Our goal is to develop your quality improvement competence, your patient safety skills, and your leadership awareness and potential to be able to rise up to the challenges of healthcare in this modern age. So please listen to the end. Thank you. Hello, good morning. I'm coming to you today as your strategic leadership and system transformation expert. I am Dr. Joshua Kolawole. You know, it's always a treat, it's a delight for me to come to discuss something that is cogent for systems transformation. So I'll be talking about system transformation, but I would be wrapping it around agile thinking and leadership qualities. So the agile thinking and leadership qualities that are needed for system transformation. That is my core discuss this morning. I am with Valdemar's Intelligence LLC in Grand Prairie, Texas, in the United States of America. So this is going to be a long discussion, a long lecture. It's going to be a teaching kind of. So I would urge you to take your time to listen good. So permit me to share my screen so that you can go well along with me. And I'll please advise you to kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the subscribe button now so that you could get more updates on systems transformation, continuous quality improvement, and basically strategic leadership. So like I said, I'm Dr. Joshua Kolawole, and just a little bit about me. I'm an Agile leader. I'm a certified Agile project manager, a Lean Six Sigma, a Master Black Belt, a Scrum Master, a Scrum Product Owner. I'm also a seasoned healthcare quality improvement consultant. So in case, and I'm driven by strategic leadership to achieve outcomes in any project or program where I get to lead. So thank you so much for going along with me. What do we mean by agile philosophy or the agile thinking? You see, being agile is a philosophy, is a way of thinking, is a way in which the mind processes ideas. And because it's a mindset that speaks to advancement, movement, locomotion, motivation, inspiration, a movement in the mindset that creates outcomes, that create faster deliverables. So what I say is, and I got this quote from an article by Jeff Sutherland that says teams that finish early accelerate faster. So meaning agile means you will need to finish early and you will need to still deliver on quality. You will need to deliver based on budget. You would need to deliver based on requirement analysis, basically. So being an agile leader would require you to stay nimble by being in a mode of continuous improvement, thinking about innovation and transformation. So you will not be an agile leader by being a socialized mind. You must move your mind from the littleness in socialization to the greatness in transformation. And you may need to pass through the self-authorship phase along the line of the movement. The next thing I would love to talk about are the principles and that guides the thinking in agile practices. You understand? You see, in any practice where you have customers, where you have clients, where you have patients, like in healthcare, you need to classically understand that your focus must be on satisfying the end user of the process. So in an hospital, you're not setting up a system in such a way as to make the work easy for the staff, but you're setting it with the mindset of the patient and their family engagement. You're setting up the process in a way to make life easier, to make the work done faster, smarter, in a wiser way for the patient, for their relatives, before you start considering the employee, before you now start considering every other house of the system up to other stakeholders. So the focus primarily for an agile thinking person who wants to lead a system transformation must be on the final end user of the product. So I expect Toyota to think about me as the driver, a lover of Camry. I expect Honda to think about a friend of mine who possibly loves Honda Accord. Do you understand me? So this is basically about a focus on the final end user. You know, it's in healthcare. We have been trying to say we need to get the doctors, the nurses. We need to flip healthcare so that the doctors and the nurses move out of the center of healthcare and we get the patients there. The patients' needs, their priorities, their wants. We need to get it to even their prejudices. We need to get it to the center of the provision of our healthcare. So basically, the second part is the focus on dynamism and changing requirement. We should not wait until the end of a project before we start evaluating the requirement. Hence, the reason why we should be agile. You know, agile runs on our iterative processes, and these iterations make sure that there is review. There is retrospective, there is review and retrospective at the end of each iteration, at the end of each sprint, if you're talking about Scrum. And this really helps to keep the organization in a dynamic phase, pursuing after a goal, but keep reevaluating yourself consistently. And even on a personal level, you can reevaluate your week. You can reevaluate yourself fortnightly. You can reevaluate yourself every month. You can evaluate yourself every quarter, depending. So in big agile, in scaled agile projects, you can hear about the PI meeting that happens every quarter. So all this, the PI meeting that happens every quarter. So these stands for being dynamic, being in a phase of movement, being energetic. You know, it was Warren Buffett that says, look for three things in your employee. He says, look for integrity, energy, and intelligence. Although he said, if you don't find integrity, don't employ them. But energy is so critical because you don't want to get a slouchy staff. You don't want to get people on your team that are slouchy, that are weak, that are low in morale. You need them to be internally motivated and inspired. Number three is focus on motivation and self-organizing team members. Basically, you need to get it. You need to focus on motivated team members. John Maxwell has said it before. I really don't go after demotivated staff and get them motivated. What I go after is to employ a motivated person and then keep them motivated. So the most important thing is look for features that keep people, that shows that they are internally motivated, and then keep them consistently motivated the more. And the next thing is focus on excellent communication. You know, communication has been defined over and over as the gateway to every organization. So as an agile leader, it would be expected of you as an agile person, as an agilist, that you must have excellent communication skills. You must be clear, compelling. You must speak and avoid cruelty. You must speak and avoid failure in everything you say. So you must have detailed description, succinct, high-level detailed description in a very smart way to communicate your intent and the content that you want delivered per time and per budget. Another thing is you must focus on technical and performance excellence. You see, this is very key. You must get people on your team who are technically smart, technically excellent, and that they have delivered and they'll keep delivering technically excellent job. But more importantly, they have to be driven by performance measures. They have to be driven by either structure, processes, or outcome measures that are based, or even balancing measures that are based on clear-cut performance-based. In a week, what are you supposed to achieve? What's your velocity? What's the velocity of the team? And this is key to systems transformation. A system, don't forget, a system that will arrive earlier must accelerate faster. That will achieve results better must accelerate faster. We must focus on breaking down complex issues into simple versions for solution. You see, life is complex. Challenges that you will solve are complex. But for you to solve them, you must find a way to break them down into simpler chunks. Hence the reason for iteration in agile project management. You need continuous iterations to be able to solve the chunks of the small problem and go a long way. It goes a long way to solve a complex problem in the long run. Don't forget that for an agile person, you have to remember to be resilient. Your ability to bounce back even when you're crushed. The ability to bounce back, the ability to be adaptable, strategic adaptation, and continuous resilience. Adaptation is the ability to to manage change, to go along with rapidly changing environment. Resilience is both that ability with the ability to bounce back even when you get knocked off. So when a system gets knocked out, knocked off, or software fails to function or fails to deliver, your key ability to remain resilient and bounce back into operation and maintain pace is called resilience. Then you must focus on endurance and sustainability of result. You know, a lot of weaknesses that have been attributed to Agile is so occasionally is the ability to maintain agility over a long period of time. And I tell you, as an Agile coach, you must learn how to take your team through different phases, different cycles of system transformation. And with this, you would have built endurance and you will be able to generate sustainable results. I also want to say, why are we doing Agile? Why Agile? Why Agile at national, at institutional, organizational, business, or even personal level? I will tell you that one critical thing for Agile is the ability for an agilist to subdue the culture of mediocrity that resists innovation in their system. It's a critical factor for you to be agile. You see, when you see a rapidly moving train, he's able to crush a lot of obstacles on his path. That's just the key. The second part is you must be agile to deal with volatile and uncertain circumstances and occurrences in your system, in your life, in your system, in your organization, in your nation. You also need to deal with complex and ambiguous challenges. Deal with complex and ambiguous challenges. If you do not deal with complex and ambiguous challenges, then they are going to beat you down. And once they beat you down, your system will not be able to scale, let alone transform. Even you at a personal level, when the challenges become ambiguous, vague, you don't have clarity, no definition, then you will run into trouble. Because if you're not able to be specific in your goal, there is no way to achieve such goal. Now, to also create an environment that has creativity, you need to be agile. You need to prevent large teams working in silos, working in small, non-interacting core. You need to prevent micromanaging. You need to deal with power negotiation issues. And so if you're not agile, you will not be able to deal with this. So why agile for the last one? You see, to deal with the world systems where we have increasing emotions, increasing expression, expectation, entitlement, and even education from employee now, you need to set in motion agile transformational systems. So if you want a system transformation, you need to be thinking in this way. You must be an agile mindset to be able to achieve such result. And, agile values as even set out by the Scrum guys. And I'm talking about Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schober now. When you think about them, you would see that the agile mindset has some key values. I've added more to it than what is in the book, but if you had read several other agile materials, you would see that even the added points are part of the key points that should be added to the values. Now, the first thing is focus, the ability to remain consistent on a pathway, despite all the rough ends and everything, to keep at it. The ability to maintain a strategic focus, choose a unique place of value and uniqueness, a place of clear distinction. And you see, if you look at the world, it's not like you can say there's a best car, there's a best movie, best house. It is the best thing that uniquely fits the person that wants to consume that product. That's what becomes the best. So for me, a Toyota might be the best. For another friend, it might be a BMW, it might be a Mercedes. You need to understand that. So focus is critical. Number two is commitment. You will not achieve so much if you're not a committed soul. Number three is transparency, which speaks to openness. Openness in the processes, openness in procurement, openness in stakeholders management, openness in communication, openness in everything, in financials, openness, transparency, respect, culture of mutual respect. I must respect you for being a professional. You must respect, irrespective of our ranking along this thing, we become a mutually self-organizing team that is operating with respect, period. And respect is reciprocal. Courage is one of the critical features that every great man needs to possess. I will talk specifically about courage and elaborate more on it. Consistency, intelligence, and then mastery. As an agilist, you must pursue after mastery. If you must keep learning. So because of that, you will need to master each art or each trade where you belong to. More importantly, before we go forward, these are the qualities of agile leaders. And number one is courage, courageous leadership. Number two is being a continuous learner. Number three is conceptualization of ideas. Number four is commitment to continuous improvement. Number five is coaching, mentoring, teaching, and facilitating. Number six is communicating clearly. Number seven is continuous collaboration. Number eight is celebrate and motivate team success. And number nine, ultimately, that will lead to system transformation is that all agilists are change agents. They have made up their mind to effect either disruptive or sustaining changes or efficiency-based change in every system where they are. And you know, if you sustain change effect efficiently and effectively over a long period of time, you tend to innovate. And when you innovate and you keep at innovating, you will transform. You will automatically transform. And if nature smiles on you and along the line of continuous improvement, you innovate and it's a massive disruptive innovation, then you automatically transform. And hence the idea of the Transforming Minds initiative. You see, you can liken agile transformation to the concept of quality institutionalization into a system where you formally and philosophically introduce quality management principles, policies, precepts, patterns, and cycles into a system. When you inject it into a system, into the people in that system, into the processes in that system, into the procedures that are being done in that system, and you get the mindset of everyone to align with the idea of the institutionalization by integrating themselves all together, and you see, creating allocation, alignment of resources, policy driving everything, creating a system for reward for quality, you would have set at the end to have transformed the system. Such is the way of agile transformation. And so as you go with me, remember that we're talking about the qualities of agile leadership, and please pay attention. I would need you to keep listening, keep going, because and then please try and write down so that you can enjoy the discourse. Thank you so much for listening. As we go ahead, and please, if you have not subscribed at this point, I would urge you to subscribe to my channel, and let's get this going. All right, courage is the quality of the mind and a spirit of a person that enables their mental or moral strength to venture, to persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. Your capacity to be able to drive yourself even when you know that the future is dangerous, is difficult, and there are fears all around. That strength in your mind, in your soul, in your spirit to keep going on defines you and keeps you within a mental and moral framework. You must be defined by some values. When it keeps you that way, then we say you're a courageous leader. To deal with an endemic emotional environment and the manipulative, intimidating, negative negotiating, and dominating culture in our society today, you will need to be courageous. You see, the society is made up of men who are manipulative in their ways, who try to intimidate you, who try to run you on a negative negotiation, and who tries to dominate you. People can come and tell you, you have hijacked my system from me. You have denied me the access to do things. I started this process, but you didn't allow me. People will come against and say, I know you will not go with us, so there's no need. Those are manipulative statements to make you change your mind or to get you on their side. But you must always be analytical and take your decisions based on sound scientific judgment, based on sound moral judgment, based on sound moral values. Your decisions at no point as an agile leader should be based on emotions. Of course, you need to accommodate people's excesses, but you must understand that the principles and precepts of quality installation has to be in place in every system where you're leading. So I would tell you that courage is at the soul of focus. If I ever mention to you that focus, consistency, strength, and maturity are part of the qualities of an agile leader, I'm inadvertently telling you that you need to be a courageous leader. Look, there are 4 things life would demand from you leadership will demand from you. And that's your ability to remain focused on the job, your ability to remain consistent with high energy, the ability to remain strong and strong, and then the ability for you to be matured both in knowledge and in leadership quality. This is needed in families, is needed in personal life, is needed in organization, is needed at national level, at institutional level to transform any system. Courage is what drives the quality of your thinking. When I say you have a sound quality of thinking, I'm telling you in advance that you also have courage, because for you to maintain that quality of thinking, you need to be courageous. Obviously, courage is what drives strength of character. Courage is what drives the quality of the wisdom by which you operate. Courage is what drives visionary attitude. You see, it's been said about Winston Churchill that is a courageous leader. He was visionary. All these things didn't come without courage. Courage is what drives growth capacity, the ability for someone to keep growing even when the circumstances do not favor them. Imaginative capacity, intentionality of action. When you see men, when you go to a train station, a train park early in the morning when people are alighting from the train, you would see people who are passionate, who are going somewhere. And you can even tell from the energy, the intentionality of their movement, those who are going to achieve and those who are just strolling away. The capacity for kindness requires a lot of courage. The power of positive words, your capacity for love, your capacity to maintain gratitude and joy, especially in not so good circumstances, the courageous capacity. So when I meet you and things aren't going well and you're smiling, you're happy, we're able to relate, you're joyous about it, and you still could communicate what is happening with a heart of gratitude and joy, and still be thankful, be grateful, then to a large extent, you would have been a courageous person. Capacity for deep meaning and not being, you see, there are rocks and there are stones and there are sands. There are also the core things, the important things, and there are the less important things. You need to know that at every point you need capacity to differentiate the rocks from the stones. You need the capacity to differentiate the rocks from the stone. The key things that are important for your life part-time from just the general things that the society and the people in your environment brings to your way. There are rocks and there are stones. There's a capacity for deep meaning. You must, at different points, have a clear filter in your mind. If you're going to be an agile coach, an agile transformation expert, you must at every point think in your mind, what are the deep meaning? What's the deep purpose for why I'm doing this? And when you have the clarity of purpose, please go after it. Please go after it. So the capacity for continuous learning is a capacity that requires a lot of courage. The capacity for accurate self-evaluation is also the capacity to tell yourself the truth about yourself and the things you're missing is actually a large capacity that depends on courage. You see, I've sent out an evaluation before telling people to tell me the things I do not do well, my weaknesses, my strength. And you know, one of the responses I got from one of my bosses, you're a very courageous person. Not so many people can open up themselves for people to just criticize them and mention the negative part. And I told them, look, I have a healthy self-esteem. I have clarity in my mind. If you say things that does not resonate with me, I know. So, and even if you say things that seem to hurt me, I use that negative energy to propel myself to improve. That is actually the attitude for continuous evaluation, for accurate self-evaluation. Not that you take offense when people give you a negative criticism. All criticism, negative or positive, are good. They are good for self-evaluation. One important thing is, okay, so I was in this Lean Coffee meeting with Agile experts, Mike, Chris, Greg, and Tunji, we call him TJ. And so we're talking about, so I posed a question that, what does courage mean to you as an Agile expert? What does courage mean to you? And you see, the feedback I got was quite interesting. They all agreed with me that, look, for me, courage means your capacity to dig out fine details about system challenges. You see, if you want to solve the problem of any system, as a Six Sigma expert, you need to define what the problem is. And for you to define the problem, you need to do a lot of the 5 why analysis, the root cause analysis, to dig deep and know where the origin of the problem is. So for you to dig out fine details about systems, because people will cover up with emotions, they will cover up with a manipulative process and want to just make you lose focus. But once you're a man determined to get the result, and of course requiring courage, you will be able to dig out fine details. Approaching the challenges for resolution. The ability to approach any challenge you find in your system and say, look, we need to resolve this problem once and for all. And if you're not a courageous person, you won't do that. Approaching those who benefit from the challenge. Look, in every chaos, they say chaos is a ladder. Chaos is a ladder, and people definitely benefit from it. That's why the ladder remains. So in any time you want to solve a system challenge, know that some people are benefiting from it. Most of the time, we always think about benefit as financial benefit. But what you don't know is that some people are gaining their emotional pleasure from the way the system is. They seem to have control. They seem to be able to dominate, intimidate the people. And that's their emotional pleasure, and that's the gain they have in a chaotic system. So for you to now fight that kind of system and change that kind of system, you would have to quarrel with those kind of people and have to help them till they shift their perception. And you would have to stay strong until they agree with you and change. Look, another important reason why you need courage is your ability to engage in difficult and crucial conversations about growth. Difficult and crucial conversations about growth is critical. You need to be courageous to stand on your principles and values to deliver fast, to deliver more, and to deliver with improving quality. You will need to be courageous to stand on agile principles and values to keep delivering more. You will need to protect your team from negative impact so that you can maintain a steady team. You know, steady team is one of the critical things for the team that accelerate faster. And so for you to achieve a steady team, you need to be courageous, because there'll be interference from other teams. They want to poke some of your team members. You need to be courageous to deal with that. The second quality of agile leadership, that's continuous learning. You must stay in the beta phase of existence. You must stay in the phase of continuous knowing, learning. You see, you need to consider learning through these eyes. Learning as a way of thinking. Learning must be a way of thinking. It must be an habit and a process. You must develop curiosity every day. You must be curious to know what is happening, why is it happening, how is it happening, and what next is going to happen. You need to stay nimble in learning. Learning how to learn. You must learn the adaptive nature of change. You must learn to accept changes more as opportunity rather as danger. You know, I said some people benefit from crisis and they don't really want to change because of the benefit. And so, but if they are a learning mind who keeps learning as an adaptive nature for change, they will get to a point where they would understand classically that learning has to be continuous. It has to be adaptive. And it's instead of running away from learning or from the dangers of learning or the difficulty in learning, you need to embrace it as an opportunity. Learning is a lifelong process. So for some of us, we have made it, I say it this way, it's an attitude of continuous, permanent, personal development. Continuous, permanent, personal. So it's permanent, it's personal, and it's continuous development. And I coined these words for my student. I say, please maintain active management of your life. Active. You see, there's a passive rhythm with which you could run your life, but there's also an active rhythm that you could use to manage your life. You must maintain active rhythm. Classically, learning for problem solving, it requires courage, collaboration, and interaction. Learning requires courage, collaboration, and interaction. Learning has the circle of learning. You see, there's the question phase where you're curious, contemplation phase where you start analyzing, idea phase when other ideas start pumping in, testing phase where you start to test all those ideas, test all your contemplations and ideas, and then you bring out some reflective point, and then you go back to generate another question. The truth about life is you will forever remain curious because the challenges will keep coming in different fashion, in different forms, in different functions, and you will need to deal with them. And so because of this, you will need to maintain an attitude of continuous learning. Agile leaders are continuous learners, don't forget, and learning is never done in the place of comfort and complacency. Just take it with me. Learning is not done in the place of comfort and complacency. Learning is not done in the place of comfort and complacency. Learning requires being proactive and serves for creativity. Learning requires continuous movement. You must trust your movement in learning. Learning requires a lot of deep reflection, deep meditation. You need to sit down and think through scenarios, clarify things in your mind. Learning creates platform for you to unlearn the wrong things you used to know. I say it like flush out the lies with the truth. So when you learn new principles that are working principles, you must use them to flush out the operating lies in your life. When you want to hold on to the lie and hold on to the new truth, then you become an unstable person. And people can even call you bipolar. You become an unstable person and you're not able to achieve results. But for you to be able to keep going, learning and unlearning and relearning, you need to understand that you must flush out the lies in your mind. Yes, learning. What is the degree of your willingness to learn? Are you willing to give up money for knowledge? Are you willing to give up your time for knowledge? These are the things that questions if you're really willing to learn. So the amount of money I see you commit to your yearly or annual or monthly development gives me an insight into believing that you're a committed learner. Are you willing to give up your time, your sleep for learning? Are you willing to give up what you love, music, movies, other things for pursuit of knowledge? Meeting times that you're going to go somewhere, you need to give it up. Are you willing to get a mentor so that you can maintain the posture of a student and remain accountable for life? If you're willing to do this, what are you willing to give in exchange for your knowledge? Whatever you're willing to give is the price that your knowledge gains. Or is what? Sorry. What is your willingness to change? Because learning in itself is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is your willingness to change. Your willingness to commit yourself to a disciplined life after a principles with which you have learned and change. That is, you have confronted yourself with that principles, you have used it to flush out the lies, and then you have decided to change. So are you willing to embrace the truth for change? Are you willing to give up on all lies? Are you willing to stay focused and disciplined? Because you will need these two to maintain the truth you have embraced. Are you willing to grow and evolve with wisdom? That is, you must be ready to take feedback and respond well from teachers, from mentors, from coaches, even from colleagues and from, junior colleagues. And even younger ones, especially your family member. Some of them have told you the blunt truth, but you still didn't just listen. You need to make up your mind. What are you willing to give in exchange for a transformed state? What are you willing to give in exchange for a transformed state? That is the question for you today. And I decided to bring up this emotional cycle of change chart to tell you that you can start from an uninformed optimism state. You see, when you tell people, would you enter medical school? Would you like to study medicine? They will say, yes, 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 yes. Would you like to work in a bank? They will say, yes, great. That'd be a great idea. Would you like to work in a multinational Fortune 500 conglomerate and earn high pay? They will say, yes, yes, yes. But that's a state of uninformed optimism, I hope you know. By the time you get them through the process of application, through the process of preparing for interview, running for multiple interviews, they start getting to the point of informed pessimism. They start losing steam, losing hope. How I didn't know this was going to be this hard. I didn't know this is how it's going to be. And then when they keep going more, they enter into the valley of despair. At that point, some of them are thinking, I need to quit at this point. I didn't bargain for this. But some who's got grit, like agile leaders, who's courageous, they would say, no, we keep going. These are the point where we really need mentors, coaches, teachers, facilitators, people who can hold our hands. Because when we get to this point, if you're not strong enough, a lot of people will quit. And this is the point where people run into trouble. When they get into this point, maybe when they've even gotten the job and they now see the intensity of mental requirement the job is demanding from them, they say, no, I need to quit. But you see, if you ever keep quitting at this point, you will never become a great mind. If an organization keeps quitting at this point, they will never transform. If a nation fails to face their leaders and discusses the truth, then they will never transform. So you need to move from here. And then once you can scale and build capacity to be stronger, wiser, and better in this phase, you will rise to the form of informed optimism. We will soon call you a consultant, a professor, a master in something. And once you have gained mastery, we will always call upon you back, consult you to come and teach those who are just coming in. either coming in at an uninformed optimism phase, at an informed pessimism phase, or those who are in the valley of despair. Those are the three people who will call you to come and help us talk to. And you see, more importantly, you need to keep learning. Continuous learning. It's an attitude of continuous learning. Now, I need to tell you that learning helps us to achieve one thing. Learning births understanding and clarity. Because in any organization that will transform, the lack of clarity is cruelty to that system. When a boss just comes in, gets annoyed, does not clearly define ideas, and just rattle and leaves, you have just put more people under confusion. You need them to start scrambling to get what does he want, what does he expect from us. So I would urge you as a leader, ensure there's clarity of thoughts. What, so what, and now what? What you need to say, why you are saying it, and then what's next. You must always define the why, because when the why is strong enough, it helps the people running to run better. You must have clarity of speech, how to communicate with confidence, with connection. You must connect with the people you're communicating with. You must sync it up with their emotions, sync it up with their needs, sync it up with their wants, align it with their thinking. And then you must make it compelling. You must give it some energy and some life. If you come to me slouchy and you're just talking, I won't take you serious. But when you come and you speak with energy, with confidence, with life, then I will believe you. Clarity of action. You must clearly define what the problem is. You must clearly define what are the benefits and then what are the solutions available. And because why you need to commonly put benefit before solution is that the benefit entices them and syncs up their emotions to want to listen to the solution that is available. Intentionality of action. You see, when you are learned and you know what to do and you're truly not restrained by external forces, you will develop the speed of execution. Now, the third quality of an agile leader, conceptualizing ideas. The destruction of the old gives birth to the new. Creativity is first of all an act of destruction. Pablo Picasso. You see, you need to know that for you to be able to build the new, you have to destroy the old. I just mentioned it the other time that when you embrace the truth, you need the truth to flush out the lies. Holding on to the old and the new will collapse your system. You cannot put a new wine into an old wine skin. You will rupture the wine, you will rupture the skin and waste the wine. So the idea is, as you're bringing in a new wine, you need to prepare your skin to be a new skin. So that as the new wine is coming, it gets into the new skin and life is rejuvenated. Agile leaders who conceptualize ideas are actually creative thinkers. You must, as an agile leader, be someone who is in the conceptualistic realm. You must think through and outside of all scenario. You must think as though the box does not exist. Think with the box, think outside the box, and then think as though the box doesn't exist. Those are three realms to think. You must see beyond the wisdom failure in your environment and break the intelligence trap when possible. Look, the things you call difficult, painful, not doable today, they are simply an intelligence failure. Once you get an information on an intelligence per moment, you will start working towards how you get out of that pain and that problem. So whatever you're going through now today, as a leader in any organization, just learn it very simply. You need to get a wisdom that will solve that failure. You need to get an intelligence that will break you out of that trap. And until you brainstorm and think clearly enough, you may not get the answer to this. Because if you cannot see possibility, the fact that you cannot see a possibility does not mean it doesn't exist. Imagine for a leader in Africa who never knows about an operating system or a software that operates here in the US. When you're talking to him there, he will tell you it's not possible. But for you, if you travel there, you would say it is possible. Whereas for some things that also happen in Africa and do not happen in the US, if I tell you, can you imagine things like this happen? You would tell me it's not possible. Whereas it's just because of the failure of your own understanding of knowing the things that happen in Africa is just the reason why you don't know. You must challenge assumptions and stay curious. You must keep asking the questions till you get the right answers. Before you can conceptualize an idea easily, you must have challenged a lot of realms and realities for yourself. You must have break through your intelligence trap, your wisdom failure. You must have broken through the limitations of your eyes, the lack of capacity to see. And that's why you must stay in an art of continuous learning, because it keeps exposing your mind to the possibilities, and that helps you to quickly break through. So you must be ready to challenge assumptions. Why is this so? Why is this not so? I love the other one. Why is this not so? Because by the time you put a not, you force your brain to start thinking backwards about the scenario. And before you know it, by the time you ask the why and the why not, you will be able to start questioning some realms and realities. Now, for you to conceptualize idea, I need you to know something. Expert ideas are good, very excellent, especially for sustaining a system. However, if you want innovation and disruption, you will need to be careful how you manage expert's mind. Shunryu Suzuki said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are just a few. The problem with an expert is they've gone through a lot. Don't forget, they've gone through the valley of despair. And in the valley of despair, they have been depressed, kind of, quote and unquote. And because of that, they already formulate a philosophy of the things that work and the things that cannot work. Unfortunately, that does not make it the truth. It just makes it their own reality when they were going through the valley of despair. And don't forget the concept of the valley of despair. Just about anything you want to learn or change, you go through that cycle again. So because of that, Shunryu is telling us that you need to have a clarity in your mind. When you want to pursue an idea and you can see many possibilities, please keep exploring. Beware of expert mind that will want to kill your innovative spirit, but also listen to them when you need to sustain the improvement. So when you need to innovate and create, you must limit the negative voices from experts. But when they give you positive voices, you embrace it. But you must limit the impact of the negative voices from experts. However, when you're done improving, then you can listen to them so that you can then sustain the improvement. Just the same way to the market too. For any organization that sells a product into the market, when you're trying to develop the product and you're putting it through some tests, you need to be deaf to some words from them when you're testing, trying to create, innovate. However, when you ship into the market, please start listening. Listening for all feedback. Listen to what they call your product and call it that name with them. Create space in your mind for new ideas, new insights, new revelations, and new discovery. Always be open to this, open to new ideas, new insight, new revelation, and new discovery. Do not be a man who has locked his heart. Once you have locked up your mind, you're dead. Engage the power of personal reflection, personal meditation, and personal visualization. I'm sure we all know about using visual board as an agilist. Visual board makes you divide the work into what you plan to do, what you started doing, what is in progress, and what's ready for final testing, and then what's finally ready to be shipped into the market or shown to the customer. And so when you see all this, you need to learn something. You need time to see, to keep looking. When you look intently enough with some quietness in your soul, you start seeing beyond this realm. And that's the essence of visualization. In the essence of meditation is when you're calm enough in your spirit and quiet in your environment, you would achieve great insight, great depth of understanding, and great depth of connection of ideas. And that's why you must be a person of personal reflection. And deeper than that, meditation, deeper than that, or continuous beyond that, visualization. You see, the power of interaction and inquiring conversation is very deep. You need coaches, mentors, leaders that you can speak with. Agile leaders conceptualize ideas, of course, by thinking outside the box. You need to understand brainstorming sessions, meditation sessions, visualization. These are key things for you to conceptualize ideas. You must learn to think outside the box. Accommodation, collaborative sessions, continuous evaluation. You must continuously evaluate your system, your process. Even when people are praising you, you are quickly evaluating the process. What can be done more? What else can we add more to it? What are the new things that we can add? New features, new attributes, new qualities, new functionalities. That what more problem can this system solve? That is the only way to transformation. I told you it's an attitude of staying continuously improving, innovating, and then transforming. Continuously improving, innovating, and then transforming. And so collaborative sessions, you must open up to collaborating from professionals, from leaders, from teams, and you must talk. You must accommodate people's idea, even when they look ridiculous. Accommodate them, accommodate their ideas, accommodate them. Visualization, I just spoke about it using the visual board. You can also do several other models of visual boards to get ideas. And then brainstorming session, you must get people into the same room, lock them up if possible, but that's a joke. But at least just for the brain to be intensely focused on a problem. And you'll be amazed at the amount of result that can get. Commitment to continuous improvement is the fourth quality of an agile leader. And you see, I just mentioned that. What is continuous quality improvement? It is a formal approach to the assessment of quality, safety, or equity, and systematic data and measurement guided efforts to improve outcomes within the context. Continuous quality improvement, continuous quality improvement, continuous quality improvement is a formal approach to the assessment of quality, safety, or equity, and systematic data measurement guided efforts to improve outcomes within a context. All right, so talking about continuous quality improvement, and this is my area of passion. I want to run you through some assumptions of continuous quality improvement. There's a current situation, there's always a desired outcome, and there is a performance gap between what the current situation is. We call that the baseline, and then this is the desired outcome, which is up here, and then there's a performance gap between the two. And we must also quit the blame game and embrace teamwork. We must engage in systems thinking and establish a just culture. A just culture is a culture that rebukes people for their recklessness, but accommodates people's weaknesses and system challenges. They understand the error that has happened from a just perspective and allows for mercy for those who, out of no direct fault of theirs, run into the trouble in the system. But if it's a reckless behavior, especially when repetitive, a just culture calls them out. A just culture ejects them. So, of course, there will be resistance. There will be some resource restriction. We must understand that for us to pull through, we will have to hold on long enough. But it's always worthwhile if we do. The capacity building is essential and must be done regularly. Training like what you're having today, it's a big training that would train you on system transformation. That leadership commitment is key to our success, and that we have to take charge as stakeholders. Another assumption is that we have to see from the eye of value to the customer. I said the focus must be on the client, on the customer. We must also view with the eye of leadership excellence and technical excellence. What is the most updated technical excellence in your field? You must know leadership excellence, and then we must listen to both the voice of the customer, the voice of the process, and the voice of the followers, the employee. We must understand that if we fail to take charge now, the cost of solving it will always increase. And quality improvement always comes at a cost. Let's not be deceived. That there are systems that are working efficiently and effectively. And it's simply because there are dedicated people who made it work, committed people who made it work. So for us to have transformation in our system, we need dedicated coaches, champions, quality champions, transformation champions, agile leaders, agile coaches, agile champions that will lead that. We must know that continuous quality improvement is inherent into 5 major areas: process focus, customer focus, database decision making, employee and staff empowerment, system and organizational wide thinking. We must also understand that I would love to go through 3 models for driving continuous quality improvement. I'm trying to go slowly now so that I can explain this concept a bit clearer. You see, if you want to understand the cycle of improvement, PDSA is a very good place to start. It's for small incremental changes. You need to identify what the problem is, analyze the problem, and then you need to develop a coherent philosophy for planning. So once you develop the plan, because you need to plan ahead for change, you need to analyze and predict the results ahead of time. Now, when you do the planning, as you've done the identification of the problem, you have analyzed data, and then you have developed a coherent philosophy, and then you're planning now. Your plan will lead you to execution. When you want to execute the plan, that means you're taking small steps. And that's why I said PDSA is for leading small distance. They've called it several names: Deming cycle, PDSA cycle. So you will notice that after doing means you're actually executing the improvement that you have planned. But you start with a small doing. Then you take it to the next phase. Next phase is actually to study the results. So the older version is the check. The newer version is the study. So we call it the PDSA cycle, but you could have heard it as PDCA. So study the results, and then ultimately you need to act. Acting means you're controlling. You're trying to standardize or improve the system, because you still need to keep going on an iterative cycle like that as you keep improving. One thing you must know clearly about this PDSA is for leading small quality improvement project, and you can use it to lead it rapidly to become a bigger achievement, basically. So that's why I love it. It's a major one for me. And IHI is Institute for Healthcare Improvement, seem to be well adapted to this PDCA cycle. You see, Agile leaders have embraced the IHI PDSA model. And you see, this is a level of a standard. You want to move to a higher level of standard. You embrace the art of continuous improvement. As you embrace the art of continuous improvement, you keep planning, doing, studying, act. And then you keep like rolling the ball forward. And once you get that, under act, you standardize the process so that you don't fall back again. And that's how you keep moving. And don't forget about the performance gap I mentioned. You start closing it as you keep moving. So what are the 10 steps for quality improvement process? You must be clear on what we want to accomplish. Who cares and what do they care about? The stakeholders, the client. What are we doing now and how well are we doing it? What can we do better? What is preventing us from doing better? What changes could we make to do better? And then the whole idea is for us to do. How did we do? You need to check if necessary. We need to keep checking. There has to be monitoring and evaluation in place. If it worked, how can we do it every time? Then what did we learn? After every learning, we must celebrate. Another model for improvement is Six Sigma, which runs on define, measure, analyze. We could call it design for a new product or improve for an existing product, verify for a new product, that's the final phase, and control for an existing product. So you could hear us commonly say demake, because we're more about improving an existing system, but occasionally you are consulted to also come and talk about a newly developed system. So you have to define, measure, analyze, design, and verify. And so to break it down the more, this is the whole concept. You need to define the business case. You need to define what the problem statement is with clarity. And then you need to think about the project team, think about the project charter, think about the objective statement that you want to achieve and the scope with which you want to achieve them. So defining a problem or the opportunity needs to be clear, to be smart. And you see, to measure deliverables, to measure performance, both current and even the future, you must put in place tools that are used for measurement. Then you must be ready to analyze. As you're doing something, you must be doing a root cause analysis. You must be doing failure mode effect analysis, graphical and statistical analysis. And that's where data analysts, business analysts come into place. You need all these to transform your system. You see, it was Deming that says, we all trust in God, but when you are coming, please come with data. Data, once it is well collected in a very valid and reliable way, it doesn't lie about the process. It speaks exactly the voice of the process when well analyzed. Then improvement. We must create a system for improvement, test hypotheses, generate solutions, evaluate solutions. Of course, we must be able to pilot and implement such solutions. And under control, while we're doing those solution piloting them, control plan, control methods, must be in place. So the make is a very detailed process for improvement, but it's also a very, very good one. So it's a Lean Six Sigma the make process. You could see these are just tools that are needed for each phases of Six Sigma. Basically, the third one I would love to talk about is the translating research into practice method. Pronovost et al. From the John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health and Armstrong Institute of Quality. It's actually made of 4 E's plus 2 E's. But basically, the 4 main E is engagement, education, execution, evaluation. The last 2 E is embed and expand. So let me just go over it. You need to engage all stakeholders involved in any program you want to change. You need to engage from the leadership to the frontline staff, to every other contract staff that are involved. You need to educate. So there must be a plan for education. If you do not educate, you will struggle with culture of people. But with more knowledge, with more openness, building of capacity, people tend to change culture. Then before you go to execute like this, the heart of doing the real work, daily, weekly, monthly. And then evaluation is your heart of monitoring and gathering data to be checking what you have started doing. And once it's working, you need to embed it by making sure you policy drive the system, policy drive the allocation of resources, allocation of staff for it, make sure everything is driven by policy and a strong leadership commitment. Then you can then expand to other units in the facility. So this is the model for the trip. Now, the 5th quality of an agile leader is coaching, mentoring, teaching, and facilitating. Have you enjoyed a coach before? I'm just curious, because if you have done that, you would understand clearly or with clarity what I'm saying. To create a high-performance team, we must replace typical management activities like supervision, checking, monitoring, and controlling with new behaviors like coaching, communicating, facilitating, role modeling, and being visionary. This is by Ray Smith. So we need to start changing, flipping our behavior. And this is where I say, and I'm saying it with the voice of Maureen Bisoyano because I learned that from her. Maureen was I think the former CEO of IHI. She said in one of our talks where she was talking about flipping healthcare, she said, we do not need leaders who are like the sage on the stage again. We need them to be a guide by our side. So I need leaders who are a guide beside me, not like a sage standing on the stage telling me what to do, dictating to me. I need a guide by my side who will coach me, who will communicate clearly with me, facilitate, model things I need to do for me, and create a vision for me. So agile transformational leaders are coaches. And I just want to define all this. A teacher is one whose occupation is to instruct or to help people learn in a comfortable environment. That's the role of a teacher. He or she is to instruct and to help people learn in a comfortable environment. A good teacher is warm, approachable, accessible, firm. Firm because sometimes students could be manipulative, but when a teacher is firm, he stops all those kind of manipulation. Enthusiastic, that is, they must be joyful, as in they must embrace gratitude, and caring about the student at the same time. So it's a real balance between character, competence, and compassion. A mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you even see yourself and helps bring it out of you. A teacher can also be a mentor. You could be lucky to have the two in one, and you may be lucky to have them separately. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. That's upper. You must see hope in yourself. Facilitation means making something easy, like facilitated diffusion. It's a process of drawing people's idea out and connecting them with other people in a way that leads to positive outcomes. That's the role of facilitation. And meeting facilitators is an excellent, they are people of excellent mind who knows how to draw ideas out of people, connect them with other people to lead positive outcomes for a meeting. And that's why if you have an excellent meeting facilitator, you would enjoy the meeting. Agile leaders facilitate communication, change, collaboration, healing, connection, decision-making, continuous improvement, innovations, and transformation. You see, Agile leaders are in part servant leaders, they are in part adaptive leaders, and they are in part transformational leaders. So the day you can integrate the three of them together, you will have an Agile leader. That's just the lesson. So an Agile leader must be able to build stable things, like a servant leader will build a community. Healing. If you do not cause your team members to heal appropriately and on time, you will never be able to build a team. Facilitate communication, change, collaboration, decision-making, connection, and improvement. A coach is a person, usually a facilitator, but not always an expert, who trains a person or team to improve their intelligence, to improve their motivation, to improve their performance, to improve their focus and accountability for success on a given task. Not necessarily and not always an expert, but it's always better when they're also technical expert or they had gone through the phase before, because they're able to break it down in details, especially when it comes to intelligence, motivation, performance, focus, and accountability for success on a task. Transformational coaching is an art of assisting people enhance their effectiveness in a way they feel helped. So transformational coaching is the whole idea for Agile transformational leaders. Art of assisting people enhance their effectiveness in a way they feel, that is, you're actually influencing them. It's what we call idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, alongside individual consideration. Transformational Agile leadership is the constructive influencing of others in the achievement of organizational goals and objectives by providing direction, support, and positive example through role modeling. Told you it's going to be a long class, so please, I know at this point it's already above an hour. I need you to stay calm, get rehydrated, get happy. If you need to pause for a while and relax and then get along back, please, it will be well appreciated. But please, I need you to learn and learn in details. So Agile transformational leaders are visionary leaders. They have clear and compelling vision to provide directions. They are servant leaders. So there's a mental adjustment and a visualization for being in service and being a steward for excellence. And that's one of the key trusts of a servant leader. Agile transformational leaders coach. And for them, coaching is a communication process that focuses on connecting people to performance, period. Coaching is a communication process that focuses on connecting people to performance. They are facilitators because they provide sense of initiative, activities, and processes to make change. And transformation comes with ease. If you want to make transformation to come with ease, and you're able to support people to generate initiative, line up activity, processes, to cause change and to cause transformation with ease, then you're a facilitator. And then role models. We all have role models in our lives. They define the culture of words, deeds, and action by modeling attitude and behavior valued by the organization. So if we're going to see system transformation, we need leaders who are models. That's they're saying it, we're seeing them do the same thing. Focus on transformational coaching as a process of coaching process. Coaching is a data and performance-driven process. So don't forget it. If you want to submit yourself under a coach, you must be ready to align with performance measurement. Coaching is focused on quality relationship and continuous feedback, please. So after performance-driven, you also need to develop a very good relationship. But you see, it becomes wrong when you want to develop relationship and not performance. I'm not saying whichever one can come first. Either one can come first. But whatever, in any case, if someone is going to be your coach, performance should be strong. It's not compromisable. Even though relationships should be strong, but you should not leave relationship strong and performance low at any point. Coaching is based on humility, balance of thinking, language, and behavior. Coaching is based on full accountability and self-responsibility for driving character and competence. Coaching is based on compassion, openness, and vulnerability. Coaching is based on compassion, openness, and sometimes a coach will definitely expose his vulnerable point just to get the person being coached to learn. And please don't misquote me on this vulnerability. I am saying they may have to explain the things they have done poorly in the past and use it to train the person being coached to become better. I'm not saying they become vulnerable to the person. No. They just explain, and they also must explain the vulnerability in the process. And so a coach is not expected to take advantage of anyone by trying to demonstrate a vulnerability. That would be tantamount to a bad coach. Now, you must know the result cycles. The result cycle talked about beliefs, behavior, relationships, and results. And the coaching is at the heart of the result cycle. You see, we need to first deal with your belief system. As you're listening to me, what I'm trying to do is to adjust your belief system to be an agile coach. So I want to touch your values, your sound judgment, the way you interpret things, assumptions, and even the perception with which you view the world. The attitude you generate from those perceptions is what makes me know your belief. The next thing is your behavior, your style, your openness, your habits, your skills, and your practices. But how will I know your behavior? The actions by which you do things, the way you do things. So you could see people with different attitude that is not aligned well with the actions you're seeing with them. Then that means there is a misgap, a misalignment between their belief system and their behavior. Because automatically belief system should determine your behavior. And over time, it will determine the kind of, your behavior will determine the kind of relationships you will keep. Trust, rapport, collaboration, sharing. The kind of connection of the people you see around you is a function of your belief system and your behavior. Just mark me down. So when you see evil people around you, bad people around you, check your belief system, check your behavior. Once you alter them, you will definitely alter your relationships. And ultimately, with the high of these in coaching, your results, your outcomes, your impact, your accountabilities, your improvement, they are also a function of your belief system, your behavior, and your relationship, leading to the kind of results you tend to get. So you must understand your belief system, your behavior, your relationship, and your results. So critical, so critical. The sixth quality of an agile leader is clear communication, both verbal and non-verbal communication. And I intended to put this because what are the things that are expected of a leader to communicate? And you see, you're communicating it both verbally and non-verbally. Psychologists have explained to us that people listen to 30% of what you say, and the other 70% is every other thing about you and the environment where you're communicating from. But basically, for an agile leader in an organization who wants to lead transformation, the most important things to communicate is the vision, the purpose, the mission, the strategy, the objectives, and the goals. That's one. You must also communicate values, disciplines, and diligence that can make us achieve those goals. He is also to communicate the knowledge that is available, the intelligence that is driving that goal, the understanding and the wisdom. He must do this with a lot of courage, faith, strength, hope, and audacity. Otherwise, if you sell us weak energy, we'll all run with weak energy. But if you sell us high hopes, high energy, we would do that with high hopes and high energy. A good agile leader will also come up with plans, design, or work with the team to generate the plans, the design, define actions, movement, advancement, and evaluations. And ultimately, an agile leader must communicate excellence, improvement, innovation, and transformation, period. So these 6 key areas are what is expected of you to communicate verbally and non-verbally. How to communicate face-to-face or leveraging online tools. I need you to know this, please. Because when you don't communicate with clarity, we already mentioned it, that's cruelty. So with clarity of speech, you will be able to communicate the content, the intent. You may even sometimes need to communicate expected reaction and then the impacts you foresee. Although, as a communicator, you also must listen to yourself, the content of what you're saying, the intent you intend to pass across. You must also communicate expected reaction if you already presume some expected reaction, and you must leave it open to say, these are my presumptions or assumptions. I may be wrong, but these are the expected reactions I want from you, and then communicate the impact. Clarity of communication builds confidence, creates connection, and makes the information that is being passed across to be compelling. Once there's no clarity, people lack confidence. And once people lack confidence, there's no motivation to keep going on. And don't forget, sequence of presentation can be problem, solution, benefit, or problem, benefit, solution. Even though I prefer the problem, benefit, solution, because when people hear the benefit first, they want to listen to the solution. But they must first understand what the problem is. We must always communicate the what, the why, the how, and the what next. And then majorly now, you need to know that communication can be subjective, that's the client focused, objective, from the focus of we, the team. We also need an assessment of between the balance of subjective and objective. We need a sound scientific analysis of assessment, and then we need a plan for intervention and implementation. So don't get me wrong, at any point when you're communicating in a team, especially about a project, about an idea, you must understand that there must be the subjective part of it, which will be things you have gathered from the client or from the people at the front line. The objective part is what are your team, the development team talking about. That's the objective assessment of what is doable. Subjective is what a product owner brings from the stakeholder, from the customer. Objective is what the team is telling us is doable. And then we now bring the two to the table for a sound analysis before we now craft out a plan for intervention and implementation. What impact how to communicate with people? What do you think impact? Number one is awareness. What has been observed, known, and noticed about you? Look, when you go out on stage there and you talk, people don't only listen to you, they listen to your history. They listen to who you were before, who you are now. They are aware about both the things they observe on you, they have known about you, and they have noticed about you. So when you say people didn't listen to me or they don't show respect, you need to understand that it may be part of the things they have observed, known, or noticed about you. People listen to your experience. Your experience also impact. When I see that this is an expert, well-experienced, divided thought, I will listen. I want to know if what you're saying is a rational thought or an emotional feeling. I don't want people who say, and my opinion is. I want to also hear what the standard opinions are or what expert opinions has been. Intentions, the purpose and the goals to be achieved that you're trying to communicate. We listen to that. Ownership. What's my part in the outcome of what you're saying? When I cannot figure myself having a part in what you're saying, then forget about it. Understanding their interpretation of the matter for now and for the future. You see, you need to guide and manage people's interpretation of matter clearly. And I love this because it runs on the 5-vowel A-E-I-O-U rule. Their interpretation of the matter for now or for the future. What is the interpretation they are giving to what you're saying now? Are they looking at it like you're just selfish about yourself, or you are really interested in not only the organizational transformation or their own personal transformation? Whatever interpretation they are giving to the issue at that time is so critical. Is so critical. So you must understand that these things affect what you communicate to people. It affects what you communicate to people. And if you don't pay attention to all this and manage them carefully, you will think you have done an excellent job communicating, whereas whatever you have communicated would have been impacted by this thing. Awareness, what has been observed, known, and noticed. Experience, the rational thought and emotional feelings of the person. Are you communicating rational thoughts, well-reasoned out thoughts? Then purpose and the goals to be achieved. How big, how humanistic the purpose is. Is it going to fulfill something bigger than us? All these things determine how people embrace the communication. Like if you say, I have a dream, you understand, it communicates a greater purpose than even the person having the dream. Ownership, their part in the outcome of what you're saying, and understanding. You see, agile leaders communicate with clarity. Please, I want you to beware of impulsive and unfiltered communication. The general gist in your environment, the general spontaneous response. I can just speak my mind. Look, that is me. I call people out. I do this. These are very impulsive, unfiltered communication in organization, and you have to be clear. It will cost you your relationships. You must learn the capacity for reasoning, reflection, and restraint by learning to suppress your Neanderthal reflex-based instincts and switch more to your forebrain for a more modern way of thinking. So I urge you, learn the capacity for reasoning, for reflection, and for restraint. Learn the capacity for reasoning, reflection, and restraint. Learn the capacity for reasoning, that I mean deep thinking, reflection, capacity to keep reflecting on what you're thinking about, and then restraint, ability to control your tongue. So act fast, speak fast, and think later will put you in more trouble in this digital age, because lack of restraint brings imminent damage to relationship, to organization. You must learn to restrain yourself. Even when you know this is obviously wrong, this is obviously evil, you must calmly explain your concept and not just be impulsive, engaging in unfiltered communication. Now we're at the 7th, so we're just 3, 7, 8, 9 away from closing this. So please, I hope you're still going along with me. Try and generate internal motivation for you to drive yourself. This is worthwhile. This is hot stuff. Continuously collaborate. The word collaborate means to work together to achieve a common goal. Team collaboration is a communication and project management approach that emphasizes teamwork, innovative thinking, and equal participation to achieve objectives. Team collaboration is a communication and project management approach that emphasizes teamwork, innovative thinking, and equal participation to achieve objectives. So we must understand that the element of effective team collaborations include communication, coordination, accountability, transparency or openness, commitment, trust, mutual support and respect, compromise. You may need to compromise, not your values in this case. Maybe you may need to wait 30 minutes more, which may not be convenient, but you have to just do that, just to accommodate something, a meeting that is extending beyond, so that you can fine-tune the brainstorming session and get a solution. You may have to work maybe overtime, sometimes depending, just to get some things resolved. Engagement, and then you must be able to manage diversity of opinions, of ideas, of people, of culture. You must be able to remain agreeable even when you disagree on some terms. And you must still be ready to work together on the team. So team collaboration is resting well on clear communication. I've spoken about communication, coordination of activities and of people and of procedures, accountability, being open to giving account about yourself. And then links up with transparency and openness, the commitment, the trust that is generated. Agile leadership and the factors that impact on collaboration. What are the factors that impact on collaboration? The culture of collaboration. You know, culture is the prevailing mental model or the way of life of people. And it has elements that can affect collaboration: the languages, the norms, the logos, the artifact, the history, the standard operations in that environment. Leadership commitment for building structures will affect collaboration. When we run on data and evidence-based collaboration, when we know that data and evidence-based knowledge is what drives us, not emotional opinions of leaders. Improving communication. If you're in a system where communication improvement is being facilitated, it will impact on collaboration. If you're in a system where collaborative strategy for short and long-term challenges are being defined regularly, it would impact on collaboration. When there is technological support to foster efficient collaboration. Example like tools like Jira, Confluence, Mura, Miro, Asana, all these things makes team collaboration work. Even Google Documents. And I'm talking about spreadsheets, Google Docs, and all this. They make, because they are online platforms, they get to collaborate all teams together to work, wiki pages, all these things. They help us. Proactive collaboration for building communities. When the leaders are proactively fostering collaboration and talking about community building, community forming, community integration, helping the community to work, love in the community, building for the community, then it helps a great deal. Why is effective collaboration difficult? You see, the rapid pace of change in the environment, in every system, makes collaboration a bit difficult. People change, people leave a job, not because they don't like the job, but maybe they have to relocate for family and other reasons, immigration reasons. There's rapid change. Complexity of work. Complexity of work, the time sacrifice required in maintaining the work, maintaining collaboration, the energy sacrifice, and then sometimes it requires financial resources to foster collaboration, to go for meetings, to host coffee meetings, to go somewhere and collaborate together to brainstorm would definitely cost money. What are the consequences of poor collaboration? Of course, we know it's waste. You have to do some things over and over, so you waste time and you waste cost. Sometimes delayed, or you make decision-making very complex. Sometimes you damage relationship. You damage relationship badly that it sometimes is even irrecoverable. Of course, we run into information mismanagement or hoarding of information. Then we create an unhealthy culture in the society or in the organization, and then we ultimately lead to organizational failure. Those are the consequences of poor collaboration. So you need to collaborate. Effective collaboration has been found to be the heart of a team. If a team can effectively collaborate, you will see increase in team performance, increase in team knowledge sharing. You will see revenue being boosted and expenses will be cut. You will definitely see improved outcome, and this will lead to efficient use of time. You will see joy and gratitude at work, and then leading to stable teams. And then there will be creative thinking, continuous improvement, innovation, and ultimately transformation. Now, I just decided to add this so that you could learn something about clustering. I want you to know that even a single organization in an environment, in a society, cannot succeed on its own. He has to collaborate with even the society. You see, in your society, there is talent pool from the universities or the schools in your environment. So the education must align with your organization. You must pay attention to technology that is helping your organization achieve better results. The markets where you are selling your product to or where you're getting product from, you must think about it. All these things. So an example now, if you travel to a community, let me just pick the name of a community. Let me say Grand Prairie. In Grand Prairie, as a unit, as a society, you need the market of intelligent mind who can work for you there. You need schools in that environment who can produce graduates that can work in your organization. You need connection of organizations that fund project banks. You need business networks. You need shared facilities, supportive authorities. If the government does not support you to ensure there's peace and stability in the land, then you can't succeed all by yourself. So this is what I'm saying in the heart of collaboration. No single organization can single-handedly say by his own reasoning he has succeeded 100%. You must have leverage on some collaborative advantage in your society. And so my concept of collaboration for agile transformation, for system transformation, is not only limited to the idea of collaboration amongst team, amongst individual. I am even talking about advancing the collaboration amongst team in several organizations, amongst team in even the so-called competing organization, because sometimes they need to complement efforts together to work well and explode in that society. Imagine if we both are exposed to a common enemy of armed robbers against our organization, maybe in an environment where there's really no peace, as it were. So we're being threatened by robbers, by different other vandalization, etc. We would need to work together as a team in that environment as united, even though we're supposed to be competing. We need to complement effort together at that point and solve that problem, because it's a threat to all of us. So what I'm saying in essence is you must open your mind for collaboration in societies. Otherwise, you just become a microcosm in an environment, and you might even think you're a champion, but you will turn out to be a local champion. So if you would become international, if your business is going to scale across nations, then you must think about collaboration in every community where you get to. So Michael Porter, a professor of strategy with the Harvard Business School, explained this when he was talking about national competitiveness in India. And he clarified it that, look, you cannot only build the railway system to work efficiently. The railway system requires large companies who will need the product the rail is transporting, either to supply to the company or to take away product away from that company and go and sell to the market. You will need a huge market, local and foreign market, to help the company to grow. You will need students that are graduating from institutions to work in those companies. So do not just start a business and think about the business in your micro area alone. Think about the whole collaborating system, the whole picture. And that's what Bart's idea of cluster proposition for success for anyone who is collaborating. So agile transformation of organization, system transformation of organization requires a whole lot to do with transformation of your mindset. Remember, agility is a mindset phenomenon. To know that you must also be able to collaborate in a cluster. Thank you. The eighth quality of agile leader, which is the second to the last one, is agile leaders celebrate and motivate teams. And to celebrate and motivate team, what are the strategies to celebrate? That means you reward reliability and consistency. You don't reward emotions, please, because it's an unstable ground and you're going to run yourself into more trouble and offend people in the long run. But reward clear reliability and consistency. Staff that have consistently stayed with us for 7 years. Consistency, they don't take time off carelessly. Maybe they have maintained 97% consistency in delivering their work, or meeting up with targets, or in coming to work. Let it be clear. Reward reliability and reward excellence and innovativeness. When people bring initiatives, reward excellence. Praise the small achievements. Talk about it. Discuss about the mindset that brought it. Use it to motivate people, not to demotivate others, please. Express gratitude when things work well. Express gratitude to your team. Express gratitude when they have to sacrifice to show up on a weekend to make a job done. Express gratitude. Don't just assume, well, they are going to be paid, or for systems where they don't get paid extra because they're already on salary. Express gratitude. Align with the team members' motivation and needs. When you know someone is passionate about going to school, align with their need, align with their motivation. It will really help you. Strategies to celebrate teams and get them motivated to do more. Sending shout outs to team members, embed recognition, empathy into your culture, encourage peer-to-peer recognition, share stories of excellent service, share accomplishments in multiple channels, and then be creative in team celebration. Some reasons to celebrate are a successful quarter, a completion of projects, work anniversaries, academic or personal development achievement, like certifications, maybe membership of some long-term membership of some association, achievement of company goals such as meeting up with sales quota, meeting up with development of a tool. You understand? Higher ratings from customers or regulatory agencies. So let's say a regulatory agency like CMS, or we invite JCI to come and evaluate our system, and we get to achieve an excellent score, and we become like a center of excellence. We need to celebrate that, to keep it going, to maintain it, to want to do more, to keep that going. Method for celebrating your team: you can take them, hardworking employee, out for lunch. You can cater lunch for the office, hand out gift cards for local coffee and tea shop, print out unique awards for each team member and schedule an award ceremony, offer a special PTO day as an award or recognition, send a handwritten note to an employee detailing how you appreciate them, give movie tickets, take the entire team out for dinner. Just think about something innovative. These are just examples. Special PTO award, you understand? While Agile leaders celebrate their team, of course, you need to keep your team continuously motivated. You need to also do it to improve your company's positive image. It's called branding. Costco is noted for paying their staff well. And you know, that's a positive branding. Every time people visit Costco and you ask them, they will say, I love them because they treat their staff well. And you know, everybody's just happy because they feel, okay, a well-treated staff will definitely treat me as the customer well. So I'd better go to that store. Celebration engenders trust in the leadership. People tend to trust you more because they know you care for them. Project success is dependent on the morale of the team, so therefore, please motivate your team. Celebrate them and motivate the team. Motivating team, it helps to maintain constant pace for sustainable development, please. Celebration and motivation helps the team to continuously reflect on how to become more effective and innovate. And this is the final quality of Agile leaders. This is actually where transformation is going to happen. Change agents. Change agents are excellent blend of servant leadership, adaptive leadership, and transformational leadership. If you are going to be an Agile leader who will lead a major difference, you must make up your mind to be able to get the blend of these three kinds of leadership. And let's go over them. You see, change agents and excellent, you need an excellent attitude for moving from a socialized mind through an authorship mind to a transforming mind. When you start making your step away from socialized mind, you will start substituting the sands for the stones. You will start making important, cogent, key decisions. You start listening more to signals as against noise. And by the time you move from that authorship level and you want to move to a transforming mind, you will start substituting the stones for the rocks. So I expect you to go for the rocks, go for transformation. So an excellent blend of being a transforming mind is what makes you great and makes a system transform. And when the percentage of transformers in a system are increasing, that system will automatically transform. So your goal as an Agile leader, Agile coach, is to increase the number of those who are Agile transformers in a system. Increase the number of Agile transformers in a system. When you say great organizations are transformed, if you go and look at them, apart from the CEO, look at the board of directors, look at the next layer, senior management level. Once the number of Agile transformers have increased in those levels, the system will automatically peak energy and transform. But once a new CEO comes and he starts killing the number of those that are Agile transformers in those places, trust me, that system will soon collapse. The 10 attributes of a servant leader. I decided to list this out, 10. I use the acronym LEAP HCF BSC, but this appears as SCB actually. So listen actively. If you listen actively and you show empathy, you show awareness. Attention, they say, is the fuel of leadership. Leaders must be aware. Persuasion, you show healing. Healing is when you help teams recover, when relationships have been bruised. You must be in a way to help the system recover. Conceptualization of ideas, ability to create a foresight, stewardship, excellence in service, commitment to growth, and then you must be building community, like I said. And when you talk about adaptive leader, they have three core components. They are courageous, they are resilient, and they are focused. They're courageous, they are resilient, and they are focused. And ultimately, if you talk about transformational leaders, they classically have matched the features of servant leadership plus adaptive leadership. And now I will list out these four things that they've done. They do well to be able to do everything a servant leader is doing. Number one is intellectual stimulation. They are very sound intellectually. Number two is inspirational motivation. They carry enough energy to inspire anyone they meet on their way and to infuse them with energy to keep doing more. Number three is individual consideration. They go after the people, the staff. They try to consider their ways, try to understand what's happening with them, about them, around them, for them, and try to align whatever they need to transform, the emotional part of it, to their emotions so that they can be driven. So we have intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation, individual consideration. For individual consideration also goes about, will you care for me? Can I trust you to help me? That's where the case of trust comes in. And then, can you lead me? And then the first, that can you lead me is what leads us to the fourth one, individualized influence. Idealized influence. Can you influence me with ideals, with standards, with competent character? So it comes with character and sound competence. So it comes with leaders who have a very close alignment between their confidence level and their competence level. Humble leaders. And that's why I said these are also the features of transformational leaders. Ultimately, thank you so much for listening. I know it's been a long class. This is about an hour and 42 minutes, if I'm correct. And I'm an Agile leader. I'm a strategist. I am driven by performance excellence. I love Agile transformation. And that's why I want you to reach out to me if you need leadership capacity and quality improvement training, health system assessment and policy development, business strategy development and outcomes improvement. I'm a certified Agile project manager, Lean Six Sigma black belt, master black belt, Scrum master, Scrum product owner. I'm a seasoned healthcare system improvement consultant, trainer, senior healthcare assessor with extensive experience in institutionalization of quality. I'm driven by strategic leadership for continuous quality improvement in outcomes, innovation, and business system transformation. That's what I do. Thank you so much. This is from Valdimas Intelligence LLC in Grand Prairie, Texas. Thank you. You can reach out to me via the details on the screen now. So you can munch the details or snipe the details, as we say, and then use it to reach out to me in case you want us to communicate about an idea or a project, or you want to reach out to me as a coach. Thank you so much for listening and have a brilliant one.